Hi, this is Don Casey, and thank you for listening to DS Tunes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to DS Tunes. My name is Anna Bruns, and I will be your host. Today, I have the big pleasure of speaking with Dr. Neal Pattel. Dr. Patel is a dentist and owner of InfiniteSmiles, full-service dental care facility in Powell, Ohio. This facility takes dentistry to the next level. The topic of today's podcast is the new imaging device, Axeos, and InfiniteSmiles is the first dental office to have Axeos installed. Congratulations on that, and thank you so much for your time, Dr. Patel, and welcome to DS Tunes.
Thank you for having me, Anna, and welcome to all the listeners, and thank you, Dentsply Sirona, for making this happen.
Thank you so much for taking your time, Dr. Patel. It's really a pleasure to have you here. I have never visited your office, but the pictures available on social media are just amazing. Could you tell us a little bit more about your dental office?
Absolutely. So, InfiniteSmiles is a dental practice located in Powell, Ohio, and I built the practice in 2008 with the dream of having a fully functional technology center that would allow me to conduct very high level dentistry, but comprehensive and interdisciplinary dentistry, with a concept of making sure that we utilize digital workflows throughout all treatment modalities for my patients. And I started this journey in 2008, and we've held on to that concept, refined it, and it's become quite comprehensive in what we're able to do using newer technologies. We decided early on that we made an oath to our patients and to the philosophy of the practice to ensure that we always push the envelope to make sure that we're always on the bleeding edge of what dentistry has to offer, but to ensure ultimately that we are able to deliver the most perfected results, the most exacting results that our patients seek.
How big is your team?
I have a team of over 23 employees. I am myself the only dentist at InfiniteSmiles, but I built a team around me that I'm very proud of. We have some of the finest technicians, assistants, hygienists, business administrators, marketing individuals as well to help me do what I do best. And without them, I couldn't do what I do. So I'm very honored that they took a leap of faith and have joined me. But I've procured team members from all over the world, and certainly we function very well as a team together.
Dr. Patel, can you tell me how do you use imaging in your daily practice?
Let me start by letting you know that in 2008, we decided to utilize a technology that was groundbreaking. At the time, this unit was called the Galileos. And I utilized the Galileos in my routine daily workflows. In fact, it was my primary diagnostic tool. So I made a decision in 2008 that for every patient that we brought on through our practice, we would obtain an image from the Galileos. And it allowed me to honestly provide a diagnostic perspective in a comprehensive fashion, as opposed to isolating one or two problem areas that the patient may request. We were approaching every patient with a comprehensive perspective. And so imaging today is still a fundamental aspect of how we bring our patients through our practice. We are required to make sure that we provide a comprehensive overview for my patients, and that's what the Galileos did best. Now, 13 years has transpired, and over those 13 years, we've learned a lot. We've figured out what works beautifully, and we figured out what deficiencies we were having in our workflow. We figured out requests. We refined the technology to the point where the engineers have finally come out with a replacement for the original Galileos. And the replacement is the Axeos. And the beauty of the Axeos is there's 13 to 14 years of history in the making, understanding every single nuance of what a clinician would require, understanding the nuances of what patients require. And the engineers at Dentsply Sirona, they were able to devise a product that speaks to everybody, and that's the Axeos. So today, we're proud to still use imaging as a primary diagnostic tool, and we still present comprehensive and interdisciplinary dentistry to our patients.
Speaking about requirements, what are the most important needs for you as a clinician with regard to imaging solutions?
First, let me tell you, when I originally started with the Galileos Comfort allowed me to take a 15 centimeter spherical volume. And I was actually limited to only being able to provide that size of a field of view. And so along this journey, I certainly had made observations that at times I didn't require the full field of view. In fact, I wanted the opportunity to take several different fields of view depending on what the patient needed. And what we've come to realize is that ultimately we need a technology that was flexible, a device that would allow us to take a 2D image if only a 2D image was necessary, a device that would allow us to take a cone beam image if that was truly necessary. Furthermore, not just one size or one field of view, but multiple fields of view. So for those patients who needed comprehensive interdisciplinary care, we had a large field of view to accommodate that diagnostics. And then for other patients who just needed an isolated area, for example, a quadrant or several teeth that were an issue, as opposed to taking a larger field of view, we can isolate just that specific area, such as a 5 by 5 centimeter volume. The Axeos truly allowed us to be flexible in our approach and how we obtained images for our patients. And we've been utilizing the Axeos now for over a month, and it has completely changed our approach to diagnostics because it's so flexible. It actually allows us to fine tune with great precision what image modality is best for the given patient. And furthermore, not just the flexibility of what kind of an image that we can obtain, but the resolution. I have yet to see anything on the market when it comes to image clarity that compares to the Axios. And it truly, as we say here in the United States, it blows our socks off. It's quite impressive.
That's really great to hear. So, did the device also influence your workflow or the workflow of your team?
Yeah, the Axios has absolutely allowed us to improve our workflow. And truth be told, prior to the Axios, it would require approximately 7 to 10 minutes to process the data from the Galileo so that we can actually view the image on a computer screen. We were quite used to that 7 to 10 minutes of processing time, and it became part of our routine. However, when the Axios was installed, we had a dramatic reduction in imaging processing time. Today, we're able to obtain an image within minutes. So once the image is obtained and exposed, it takes about 90 seconds to maybe 2 minutes at the most for the resulting image to actually populate on the computer screen. The efficiency is dramatically improved, which means we have to learn how to now take advantage of that from our clinical workflow. It used to be where we would have some downtime where we can accomplish several tasks during that downtime. But now that the image is populating so quickly, we have the ability to jump quickly into a treatment discussion, quickly into case presentation, treatment planning, planning of implants, for example, mapping of the nerve, and actually improving our workflow significantly where we're able to operate much more efficiently in our day-to-day routine.
What is the feedback coming from your team about the device?
You know, the feedback has been phenomenal. I think the team members are absolutely thrilled with the flexibility in being able to provide specific types of images. So for patients who need 2D or 3D and certain specific fields of view, it's very easy and very intuitive for the team to actually to provide those images because of the interface on the touchpad. Furthermore, the flexibility of having additional technological features such as the auto height adjuster and allows the team members to quickly align the patient in the machine at the most appropriate height and position so that we are able to obtain consistent images from patient to patient. So these little details, these nuances, these technological advancements have really allowed less strict requirements when it comes to imaging, because the machine is actually compensating for many things, including proper positioning of the patient and ease of being able to obtain an image. So the team has responded phenomenally well. They're absolutely thrilled because they were used to a Galileos, which was quite intensive when it came to patient positioning within the machine.
Mm.
The Axeos actually eliminates so many variables because it's a completely different approach. The patient is actually now facing the unit where there's a mirror. There's also laser levels so that the patient can observe and witness, their head tilt and their head posture, so that they can auto correct without any instruction. And the auto height adjustment feature, where when the patient bites on the specific dynamic bite block, the machine adapts and properly adjusts to the patient's posture so that the resulting image is absolutely perfect.
How do your patients react to the modern sleek design as well as to the innovative features as the auto positioner or smart height adjustment?
Yeah, the patients have responded very well. First, the unit is much smaller than the original Galileos that we were accustomed to. Furthermore, it has been mentioned by patients that it's much more comfortable to take a scan because there's better clearance, for example, for our patients who have a larger body frame. So there's certainly more room for the patient to actually get positioned in the machine. So it's much more comfortable. They've also mentioned that they like the fact that they can actually see themselves in the mirror, because now they understand what they're doing with their head position and their head posture. So it seems much more intuitive for patients to properly line themselves up in the machine without any instruction. The equipment that has always come from Dentsply Sirona is always appealing aesthetically. So obviously with the new Axeos and some lighting aspects and the new digital touchpad, patients are overly impressed with just how streamlined and modern the unit it looks itself. But it doesn't overwhelm them. At the end of the day, patients are curious to know what they have to go through, but it certainly breaks the barrier in terms of anxiety, because it becomes a topic of discussion about how this is new technology that allows us to get better images with less radiation. And I think patients really appreciate practices who are progressive in their approach, and practices who maintain a certain level of technology and are always upgrading and or maintaining whatever is available on the market. And I feel that the patients have well received this new technology.
How important is design and design features for you when making your purchase decision?
Design features are critically important. I think many practices are not able to accommodate larger pieces of equipment. And so whenever new technology becomes available, one of the main questions is, well, what's the ease with which we can actually integrate this new technology, and what structural changes have to be made? The reality is that the footprint requirements for the new Axios are much less than the original Galileos. In my practice, uh, the process to upgrade to the Axios literally took only several hours, including the teardown of the original cone beam, the Galileos, and then an installation of the new Axios. So from a design standpoint, it was very easy for us to accept the new design because it significantly improved over previous versions of CBCT technology. The ergonomics of the machine itself, along with some very simple integrated technology, such as the built-in cabinet for the various bite sticks and positioners, is really, really a modern approach to how we organize the additional components and accessories that are necessary to maintain and operate such a sophisticated piece of technology. So ultimately, I like to say that despite the fact how sophisticated the Axios really is, I feel that Dentsply Sirona has made it very easy for the end user to actually integrate. And it's due to its streamlined design and well thought out approach as to how to actually design this unit so that it's comfortable for the team members to actually obtain an image, but also for the patients. And ultimately, that's what means the most, because when certain technologies aren't designed appropriately or it's uncomfortable for a patient for any given reason, the resulting image may not be perfect because of patient movement or additional artifacts due to the patient not being able to hold still. The reality is that all of these features seem like they may not be important, but they ultimately are, because at the end of the day, if these features allow us to obtain an image quickly and maintain the patient's absolute position without any motion, then the resulting image is pristine.
Sure. Yeah, that's important that patients feel comfortable, because that means they will come back. They will come again.
They will come
when
again.
they will have an issue, right?
And also we see a dramatic reduction in having to retake images. I think that my observation has been with the original Galileos, there were times where we would have to obtain another image because either the volume was clipped or the patient was nervous because of the noise of actually taking a cone beam. So some of the design features of the new Axeos, we've eliminated the noise altogether. As a result of that, we see patients who simply are able to hold still and not move. The fact that the patient can actually observe their head position in a mirror allows them and keeps them comfortable to know that they're doing the right thing and listening to the instructions as they've been asked to do. So, overall, I think it's great that we are not having to retake images because of those small things that tend to happen in a busy practice.
Yeah, sure. I think patient positioning is really very, very important. And as you said, then you don't have to retake images, and then it's of course better for the patients, less radiation. Are you using Axeos and its software SideAxis 4 in conjunction with other equipment?
Oh, absolutely. So let me expand upon Sodexis and the implant suite and CCAT suite in general. My observation over the course of time has been that there are so many great cone beams on the market. They all take images, and they should. However, without the appropriate software, the technology is almost useless, despite how good the images might be. The beauty of working with Dentsply Sirona is that they've paired the Axeos with Sodexis software for easy visualization and robust amount of tools for the team to actually seamlessly diagnose the resulting images and provide specific treatment modalities and treatment plans to our patients. Furthermore, when you pair it with CCAT Suite, we're actually able to dive into software that specifically addresses everything from mapping nerves to planning implants to looking at the airway for obstructive sleep apnea, using function software to look at the stomathomatic system of the patient and understand occlusion in a much more refined manner. And then the endo application to actually know how many canals a tooth has, and then to treatment plan that specifically so that then we can provide a specific surgical guide or an endodontic guide to provide access to those canals. The workflow is impressive. And without that software, really, we're not able to make the magic that the Axeos has the ability to provide for all practices that integrate this technology. So I feel that the software is equally important as the hardware. And what Dentsply Sirona has done and always has recognized is the importance of making sure that all of the tools are available to the clinician, and the tools are accessible, and the tools are easy to use. And I feel that that's what makes this technology so impressive.
Software and hardware working perfectly together, that's a good match, isn't it?
It is. It's magical.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. But before we close up our DS Tunes session today, just a last question. How do you see dentistry evolving in the next years? Will it even be more digitalized?
Absolutely. I think that dentistry is evolving completely towards a digital workflow. The reality is that dentistry has been left behind when it has been compared to the field of medicine. And we are finally making waves when it comes to technology. We are quickly adapting to the market. And I see that digital dentistry is something that will completely replace traditional workflows in all regards. I think that The sooner dentists recognize the importance of learning how to utilize these technologies, the better prepared they will be for the future. And I fear that many dentists are waiting for newer technologies to become available. But the reality is that when those new technologies do become available, they will not have had the experience required and necessary to know how to utilize these technologies. The work that we're doing today is paving the ground for the future. Cone beam is going to be a staple of every practice. It is a primary diagnostic tool, but our ability to add additional digital technologies to it, take for example, being able to scan a patient with an intraoral scanner such as the Prime Scan by CEREC, and then use those images from the prime scan and actually integrate them with the cone beam so that we can make sense not only of the radiology, but the surface topography of a patient's dentition and soft tissue, and utilize that towards actual treatment modalities such as surgical guides or splints or oral appliances to treat sleep apnea. That is currently happening, and that requires a lot of understanding and it requires experience. So digital dentistry is here, and it's coming with such a strong force that it's rapidly changing the dental industry. And I'm urging clinicians to jump on board so that you can maintain a level of understanding and still be able to utilize these technologies. I'm afraid for those dentists who have decided to drag their feet. I'm afraid for them because when these new technologies become available, they will be overwhelmed with how dramatically different dentistry has become.
Dr. Patel, thank you so much for dialing in. Thank you so much for sharing your first experience with Axeos. I wish you a lot of success with this device and all the best for you and for your team.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Dentsply Sirona, for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.